It is freezing in here. I got my space heater, but like winter clothes all the way. It's cold outside. It's cold in my garage. Here we are. 30-minute workout today. We're going to do intervals. So we'll be on and off the rower 4 and 3 times. About 3 minutes each go around, but you will get a good 6-minute warm up to get you going. Lots of higher rates today. We'll top out at a 31 stroke rate at one point. Sprints to top it off, and our floor workout when we're not on the rower is going to be mostly upper body. We'll still do some lower body. That's totally in there. And if you have weights at home, great. Whatever feels good in terms of getting an overhead press out of your body. That's going to be where you want to be. But if you don't have weights at home, straight up, canned goods. They aren't going to give you as much weight as, say, a 5 pound. It might be a 2 or 3 pound, but it's still that little bit of resistance that you can work with until you have something that's a little bit more adequate for the job. Plenty of heavy things around the house to grab. If you ever think that you can't do more than a 3 or 5 pound weight, I don't know who you are out there. Everybody's a little bit different, but have the confidence. Remember, a gallon of milk weighs approximately 8 pounds, and we carry that stuff all the time. Well, I don't know. Maybe you don't. We are much more of an oat milk and soy milk universe than we used to be. So, without further ado, we will get started. Playlist is on Spotify if you want to do more than just row with me. Always rowing to the beat of the music. And let me reach for my button. All right, pick drill like we always start with. So shins vertical, space between your heels and your seat. Sitting up real tall, shoulders rolled, relaxed back. You really want to be working in your lats down here to achieve that high posture. Sternums to the sky. Elbows are loose, fingertips are able to dance. Release your thumbs. That keeps the work out of your traps. Last thing, you want to squeeze your core to get your body into what we call an 11 o'clock position. You always want this lean in. You want to hold that lean in for a whole lot longer than you think you would. So we're pushing back to our finish in 3, 2, 1. Legs, body, arms. Every single muscle in your legs lit up down to your toes. Really nice push, squeezing your calves, your quads, arching your back. We're going arms only in 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, reach, pull, pull. Keep some emphasis through your toes. You're going to need those in just a second. We're going to add a hip hinge in 2 and 1 right here. Just a hip hinge. And once you get through that first full pull where you feel like you're using mostly your upper body to get that flywheel going, really push through your lower body, your toes, to get that drive in. We're always doing a 3-to-1 ratio, always taking more time in on our recovery than we do pushing back to our finish. Let's go half slide in 2 and 1. Deep breath in, nice push out. You're breathing in on your recovery, driving your air out as you push back to your finish. It is 1 breath per stroke always. Does a beautiful job of pacing you. Our intention for today, this one is big for me. I want you to really focus on making sure you've got an equal push in both your feet. For those of us who have been injured before, it's really easy. It doesn't matter whether it's your shoulder, your back, your knees. Really easy to make accommodations for those things you don't realize we're making. Let's go full stroke in 3. Full reach, feet are chain all the way in 2. And 1. Bigger reach, big knees. Squeeze. Squeeze. All right, I've got 3 paces that I subscribe to. One is paddle, one is push, and one is power. Paddle pace is 60 to 70% of your effort. That's where you're rowing right now. Nothing hard, strenuous, or otherwise. It's like walking down the street. Push pace, 70 to 85% of your effort. That's a good solid running pace. Power pace, that's your sprint pace. In terms of the numbers, let's say your paddle is at 245. Your push pace is going to be about 15 seconds below that at a 230. And your power pace is going to be about 30 seconds below your original paddle pace at, let's say, a 215 in our example. Let's pull our stroke rate up. Tighten up our stroke just a touch. We're going for a 25, 26 stroke rate, and we're gonna rock some interval lower rate power strokes. So once we get into our 25, 26, we're gonna hold it here. We're gonna get power at a lower rate instead of having to increase our stroke rate in order to get real power. So your first round of strokes is coming up. We're gonna do about 10 strokes, and we're working on dropping our split by at least 15 seconds in 3, in 2, here we go, in 1. Power it out. Push, pull, push, pull. Sit tall, even push through your toes. Equal effort. If you normally unknowingly push with 1 foot, pushing with 2 is going to drop your split even further. 3 more strokes. 2, 1. Paddle it down. Release your effort just a touch. Back into your paddle pace. Deep breaths. In on your recovery. Out on your drive. 1, 2, 3. All right. We did 10 the first time. We're just going to take it up a touch. We're going to do 12 on our next round. Power strokes for round 2. Here we go. I'll count you in. Power strokes, 12 of them, in 3, in 2, in 1. Here we go. A little more reach, a lot more push. Reach, dig, reach, push, pull, push, pull, all the way through your toes. Really dig in. You're halfway. Keep pushing. Try to take even just 1 more second off what your previous low split was. Almost there. 3 more strokes. Finish strong. 3, 2, 1. Relax your effort. Same stroke rate. Don't let your resting split bottom out. That paddle pace. Don't give it all up. Our last round of power strokes is going to be around 10. We're going in 3, in 2, and 1, all the way to the end of the song. It might come around to 12. We'll see. Just push hard. You've got 30 seconds to go. Best split you've seen so far. Push into your glutes. Push hard, evenly through your toes. Get a nice squeeze in your core. Hold tight. 3 more strokes. 3. Finish strong. 2. And 1. Take a couple strokes to yourself. Rack into your handlebars. I was going to move my rower. Actually, you know what? I am still going to do that. All right, we're going to be here for 3 minutes. So grab your weights. All we're doing is a reverse lunge with a bicep curl, one side at a time. So stepping straight back, taking a nice stance, trying to keep your feet as parallel as possible. Go down into that lunge, step out of it, rock a bicep curl. You can do this bicep curl however it feels good to you. All right, you can either do that bicep curl while you're down here in your lunge or up top. Almost through your first set, we're going to switch sides in 3, in 2, and 1. Switch. You started on your right, go to your left. If you started on your left, go to your right. So your pace, your time. You never have to do this quickly. When you're doing your bicep curl, if you're coming back to center to do it, make sure you're tucking your tailbone just a little bit. Get a nice shoulder width apart stance with your feet. That will help stabilize you. You're almost through the set. We're switching sides in 3 and 2 and 1. You want to try and keep your shoulders stacked above your hips at all times. So torso straight up, straight down. Nice squeeze in your glutes to get there. Switching sides in 3, in 2, and 1. You'll notice that if you watch more and more of these videos with me, you will notice that I am dyslexic, that I am ADD, and I probably never do these exercises the same way twice. Again, one of the things I really like to say is that exercise is awkward, and it's not, if you're doing it right, a lot of times it's not going to feel natural, and that's okay. Switching sides in 3, in 2, and 1. You are hopefully starting to feel that burn in your legs and in your biceps. If you want to add a little bit of spice to this, or a little bit of variety, you can rock a hammer curl alternating between your regular bicep curl. The only difference is your bicep curl is palms to the sky. Your hammer curl, you're turning that weight 90 degrees so that it is vertical to the sky. Switch sides one last time. Here we go. Don't forget to breathe. Super important. Almost done. Just a few more reps. 3 and 2 and 1. All right. Weights to the floor. That's 3 minutes. And I'm going to switch my setup. Feel free to roll out your arms just a little bit. Cross right over left to get your shoulders loosened back up. I'm going to bring my rower back down. And we're going to get back on the rower. Grab a sip of water if you need it. I know I do. That was a surprisingly successful transition. I'm not out of music yet. This is exciting. So, getting that nice setup in your catch. We are going for 27, 28 stroke rate steady for the next 3 minutes. So, meet me at your 27 stroke rate. If you're listening to the playlist, it's absolutely to the beat of the music. 3 counts in, 1 count back, 4 counts per stroke. We're going for it in 3, in 2, and 1. You want a nice, strong push pace. And if you are listening to the playlist, number 1, good on you. It really adds something when we hit these choruses. Just for fun, just to hold you accountable, just to give you a little something more, just push a little bit harder. You are already 1 minute into your 3. The longer your recovery, the shorter and stronger your drive can be. So don't cheat yourself out of that. The stronger your drive, the more water you churn, the more meters you get while we're here. And we really don't spend a lot of time on the rower in this particular workout because we're alternating back and forth, pushing a little bit harder. You've got the margin to do that, but it also helps you get the most out of this workout. You're halfway through. Deep breaths. Check out your split time. Are you still in your push pace? 15 seconds below your original paddle. Again, if you started at 245 with a paddle, that means your push pace would be somewhere in the range Up to 30 right now. See if you can rock that. Hold it consistent for your last 30 seconds. Dig in just a little bit deeper. Squeeze through your core. Push evenly through your toes. Keep your toes down. Locked into that foot block. Almost there. Just a little bit further. 3, 2, and 1. Take a stroke for yourself. Wrap up your handlebars. We're going to switch gears. Grab your weights. Your next exercise, I call it a windmill tilt. You want to starfish out your body, so make a star with your body. I need a little bit lighter weights for this. Tuck your tailbone, slight bend in your knees. You're going to take the next 30 seconds to just tilt a little bit. You're not doing this with your arms. You're not dropping that hand in order to get down to your hip with your weight. You really want this movement to be steady through your torso. We're going to go to push-pulls in 3, in 2, in 1. Weights in front of you, forearms parallel to the floor, pressing your weights out, pulling back in. Slow and controlled, slight bend in your knees, nice tuck in your tailbones. Again, keeping your shoulders stacked above your hips here. If your weights are a little bit too heavy, go to your canned goods. We're going to switch back to a windmill and do it on the other side in 3, in 2, and 1. Starfish out your body. This time tilt the other way. Reminder, keeping your arms in a straight line the entire time. You're going to feel a lot of this work in your shoulders to keep those arms and those weights stable. But tomorrow, you're going to feel this in your lats and your obliques. We're going back to our push-pulls in 3, and 2, and 1. Again, forearms parallel to the floor, palms to the sky. You're really not doing anything with your lower body here except soft knees and tucking your tailbone. That keeps the stabilization through your core. Woo. I am finally warm. I am finally sweating underneath my hat and my sweatshirt. We're going back to that windmill tilt in 3, in 2, and 1. Go back to your original direction. One side at a time. You can, if you want, go back and forth, but I really want that intentional focus. It's easier to keep the correct position if you focus on one side at a time. I know your shoulders are getting tired. Mine are too, but I'm in it with you. Something that'll change that position a little bit for you is actually turning your weights vertical. That will slightly change the muscles that you're using. Can't say it's easier though. Going back to our push-pull in 3, 2, and 1. Push-pull. Deep breaths while you're here. This is actually surprisingly hard work. Those windmill tilts are no joke. Again, you'll feel it tomorrow. Hopefully. If you feel it tomorrow, then have done. You and I have both done our jobs. We're almost done with this in 2 and 1. All right. Weights to the floor in a safe location. I need to make sure that my rower ends up a little bit further forward this time so I don't bump my head in my box. All right. This, depending on how hard you push through sprints in our final round, is actually going to be your most challenging song in this workout because we're going to go up to a 31 stroke rate, but it's an interval. So high rate interval, In between our intervals, it's going to be about 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. That's about how it's going to shake out. But when we're not in our higher rates, you are at a 24 paddle. It actually means I need to tighten up my stroke just a little bit. I'll always give you 3 warning strokes that are coming up to catch this beat. To tighten up your stroke, to catch a 30-31, and to rock it out for 30 seconds. So that beat drop's coming if you're in it with me in the playlist in 2, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. 31 stroke rate. You might see your stroke rate on your monitor peak up at a 32 just to get that flywheel going. That's okay. You're over halfway through this 30 seconds. Almost there. Keep driving. We've got 3 of these to go. 3 more strokes. 2, paddle it down, and 1. Back down to your 24 stroke rate. 30 seconds of breath. Sit up real tall. Reset your posture. Get really intentional about chest proud here. Sternum to the sky. Shoulders back. Keep that work in your lats. 24 paddle. We're going in for round 2 in that 31. Here we go. In 3, tighten it up. In 2, catch it. In 1, 31 stroke rate. Dig in. Push, pull. Dig. 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 Over halfway. Keep it tight. 3-to-1 ratio always. Paddling down in 3. In 2, lengthen your recovery. In 1, relax your effort. Paddle pace. Sit up tall. Reset your breathing. Reset your posture. You're here for 30 seconds. Our last one, last interval is going to be a touch longer. I want you to get the most out of this music. I want you to get the most out of your time. I want us to push it hard to the end. It's going to be about 40 seconds. It's Rihanna. It'll be worth it. Here we go. Last round, best round. In 3, tighten it up. In 2, catch your 30. Here we go. Jam out. Dig. Push, pull. Push, pull. This is your power pace. This is what a controlled sprint feels like. You got this. Dig. Push, pull. Push through your toes. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze your core. Glutes, fingertips. You should still be able to dance with those on your recovery. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Release. Nice work. We've got 1 more set of forward weightlifting, and then 1 set of sprints. We are almost done, and I'm going to break my garage. Okay. Squats with a single arm overhead press. You can take these as wide or shallow as you want with your feet. Narrow, sorry. All right. Rack your weights at your shoulders if you want, or just 1. Nice deep squat. Coming up to the sky, 30 seconds with that overhead press. So you can treat it as a thruster with 1 fluid movement. You can also drop that other weight. You do not have to do this with both weights in your hands because you're only using 1 at a time. I like to keep them both. It helps me feel a little more balanced. 3, switching sides in 2, and 1. Rack that other weight on that other side. Your positioning in your lower body stays the same. You want to get a nice hip hinge here. I'm not as much of a stickler on squat position in terms of where your knees and your feet are as some coaches. There is a philosophy that you should keep your knees on the body side of your toes, that you shouldn't be going over your toes with your knees. There's a certain amount of logic to that, but we're all built a little bit differently. Switch sides in 2 and 1. But we're all built a little bit differently. Here's what's important to me with squats. I want you to not be afraid of jetting your booty up. I want you to feel the work in your glutes when you're coming up from your lowest position. So you're motivating this through your glutes. Okay? Switching sides in 3, in 2, and 1. I want you to have a nice solid torso. I want there to be a slight arch in your back and your shoulders to be back as a part of that process. It's a ton to think about. As aforementioned, exercise is awkward, and that's okay. None of us got it right the first time, and it is a grow as you go process. Switching sides in 3, in 2, and 1. We've got one more round on each side. Remember, this is your pace, your time. You do not have to do these exercises at the pace I am doing them. You can do them slower or faster. I'm always going to recommend slower. We're switching one last time in 3, in 2, and 1. You want more. If you want to get lean, you want more reps. If you want to get strong, you want slower reps. But again, taking your time is always conducive to quality instead of quantity. 3, 2, and 1. That is our last set of floor work. We reset my rower. Make sure my secret little mirror here in the corner doesn't break. And we're going in for sprints. Woo! We're going to do 2 45-second sprints. We've done a lot of 30-second intervals today, so it'll be good to get a little bit of longer heat in. In between your sprints, paddle it out at your pace, but do not stop. Sprints, intervals, it's all about training your body how to recover well. And your body really can recover well if and when you keep it moving. You don't have to press hard. I just want you moving in between your sprints. Your sprint pace is entirely up to you. So whatever you're pushing yourself toward today, but your stroke rate, a good safety zone, is keeping it under 32. We're going in for round 1 in 3, in 2, 45 seconds, and 1. Push as hard as you can. Give it everything you've got. Dig in, squeeze, choose one muscle group to squeeze just a little bit harder this time. And every 15 seconds, your first 15 seconds is up. I want you to look at your split time and just take 1 second off of it. You are over halfway. You've got 15 more seconds to go. Almost there. 10 seconds. Keep pushing. 3, 2, 1. That's 45 seconds. Relax your effort. Release. Like I said, you don't have to push hard in these breaks, but I do want you moving. Keep your hip hinge. Keep that little bit of lean in your body. Keep that even press through your toes. We've got one more round to go. 45 seconds. Remember that low split from first time? You're going to beat it this time in 3, in 2, here we go, and 1. 45 seconds. All the way to the end. Give it everything you've got. This is your last shot to see your best split of the day. We're only here for 30 minutes, but we try to make the most of it. Dig in. You're over halfway. Keep pushing. I know it's hard. I also know if you're showing up to this workout on this channel, I know what you're made of. You've got 8 seconds to go. Almost there. 3 and 2 and 1. Release your effort. All right. We're going to cool it down. Sit up tall. Deep breaths. We always start the beginning of these workouts with a pick drill where we're building up each piece of the stroke one step at a time. Here we're going to break it down one piece at a time. I want you to always start at a full stroke. I also fully admit that a full stroke right now for me looks like a half stroke. So let's go half stroke in 3, in 2, hands just past your toes, in 1. But don't lose that hip hinge. I want a little bit less leg, but a little bit, but hold on to your hip hinge. Deep breaths while you're here. Still 1 breath per stroke. Breathing in on your recovery, driving your air out to your finish. And double check in with those toes. Ask yourself and your body if you're still pressing evenly with both toes. Let's go arms, body, body, arms. Hip hinge only, taking your legs out of the equation in 3, and 2, and 1. Still a 3-to-1 ratio. You want to take 3 counts in, always more time on your recovery, and pushing back to your finish. That drive, you're still pushing through your toes. It looks like it's mostly upper body, but you've still got work down in your legs. Arms only in 3, in 2, and 1. Lean back into a 1 o'clock position. Do arms only right here. I need to turn down my music just a touch. Keep going with those arms only. But I want you to have that little bit of lean back. I want you to have just that little bit of engagement in your belly here. We're going to rack it up in 3, and 2, and 1. Stick around for a quick stretch with me. If you got to move on to the next thing, just make sure you still stretch out while you're still warm. All right, I want you with 1 foot in front of your slider, or in front of you on your slider. I'm starting with my left. Reach for the sky. Grab your right wrist and stretch over to your left. This will help. Having this opposite arm, opposite leg on the floor, that'll help anchor you. All right, try to keep your chest up tall here to do a straight lean over instead of bending over like this. You'll still get a stretch, but we're going for your obliques right now, not your lats. Reach for the sky. Come back to center, fold over to your toes, ankles, shins, whatever works for you. Also, you do not have to have your legs straight here. You can have a soft knee. You're going to feel a stretch probably in your calf, but we're also really going for a hamstring here. So really let gravity take over. Relax your upper body. Make friends with your knee. If you know you need a shin stretch, straighten out your leg and point your toe away from you. If you know you need more flex in your calf, gently pull your toes towards your body. But really depend on your foot to do most of this work. I kind of don't like pulling on my toes. We're going to switch sides in 3, 2, 1. Right foot in front of you. Reach for the sky, rinse and repeat. Grab your left wrist this time, stretch over to your right. Your heart should be calming down at this point. It takes about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes for our heart to come back down after we've really punched it out. That's what that first big deep breath is for me. Reach for the sky, fold over to your toes, ankles, shins. Again, soft knees, let gravity do the work here. I don't know what you grew up watching or doing as a kid. For me, it was ballet. We You grow up thinking that every single stretch has to be done with a straight leg because that's the ultimate goal in ballet, but it's just not true. You can get a lot of benefit with bent knees. Again, reminder, point your toe or flex your foot depending on what you need down here in your lower leg. All right, both feet to the floor. Spread your feet super wide and press your knees away from you. This is for your hip flexors, okay? You can do this with either your hands or your forearms. If you're on your forearms, it's going to press your chest a little bit further forward. You can deepen this stretch by either sliding your seat forward and back or by pressing one shoulder in towards your slider at a time. Oh my gosh, if you're like me, you did a crazy inner thigh workout this past weekend, and even though it's 4 days later, you're still feeling it. This is why stretching is so important, you guys. And we're going to finish it off with a glute stretch. So right ankle on left knee, sit up real tall, resist the urge to fold over. You really just need to lean in ever so slightly with your sternum here, keeping your core, your torso nice and tall, and leaning in with your hip hinge. So we're almost to the finish. I'm proud of you for being here. Thanks for sticking it out with me. And in another couple of days, I'll have another workout. I really, really, really appreciate you being here. It helps me too. You lose your gym and your community, and even for a coach, it's hard to get back on after losing all of it. So thanks again for joining me, and we will do it again in a couple of days.